Welcome to another one here on the Mateo Franco DC channel, formerly known as the Teo TV. We did a rebrand to my name to just make it more searchable. Someone already had my name. So we have the DC at the end, which stands for Doctor of Chiropractic. Doctor of Cause is what I call it. But that is what I do professionally, on top of being an entrepreneur and business owner and just helping people live a healthier, happier lifestyle, which that's what excites me. So that's why you see all sorts of different things on the channel, from shoes to things that would just help us live a healthier, happier lifestyle. Biggest one of that is mindset. And then in today's video, you can see the caption is busy destroying our lives, is busy destroying your life, right? I hear this word a lot. So I made a little note to myself. Busy is an ego word. And so I hear it a lot. Yeah, I'm so busy. I want to do these things, but I'm so busy. And people will say the right things, but they don't do the right things, right? They're saying that they're committed to this. And in reality, they keep saying the word busy, right? And they may say it, they may dress it up differently. And that's the common word that I hear. So that, to me, if we're working on self-awareness, new awareness is to get to new heights. And that's the season that I'm in, is coaching entrepreneurs, coaching different chiropractors. That's what I'm really, really good at. But also just coaching other entrepreneurs and just leaning in, and it's like, hey, there's a saying that says the good shit sticks. And so I said, no one makes up good shit like I do. Like, we make up this crazy story of why it's so different for me, why I'm so busy, right? And all of that stuff. And so that is the purpose of today's episode is busy destroying my life? Is it destroying your life? And so anytime I hear the word busy, I always replace it now with productive. Do you have a busy day? Yes, I have a busy day, a very productive day. Like, I always change the context around that. Very productive, because there's a difference between being busy. It's not hard to be busy, right? It's more challenging to be productive, right? Am I producing? That's what I'm saying with the word productive, right? I'm just saying, yeah, I have a productive day, but I'm just replacing busy with that. That doesn't make sense either. But actually being intentional on that. Well, what am I producing today? So when I hear the word productive, the question comes to mind is, well, what am I producing today? Is what I'm producing in alignment with what I want to accomplish, like towards the feelings that I want to experience, towards the experience I want to experience, towards the results that I want to experience? And so those are the things that I hear when I change that word to productive. And so, right, we'll always find busy. We'll always find what we're looking for. And I hear people say they're so busy, they don't have time. They don't have time. And so one of the things that I bought is this clock right here. It's at 5 seconds. I should have started when I started this. But anyways, it's a timer. And I start timing now, time on task, trying to get it back to 0 so I can start it mid YouTube here. And so here we go. That was perfect. Or podcast, whoever's listening, whatever platform you're listening on. And so with that, it's showing me time on task. So then I'll pause it. So I'll write down the time that I start a task. So let's say it's like 6 p.m. Excuse me. I'll start that thing at 6 p.m. Then anytime I get a text or do anything that turns my way, whether the girlfriend ask a question, whether I go out and cook, whether I answer a phone call, whether I scroll through, I stop that timer. So I can actually see how much time the task actually took me versus the time that I actually sat down to do it, if that makes sense, right? Because of the distractions and stuff. What I am learning for me is when I set aside, we have to do this thing for chiropractic. It's called continuing ed. And there's 12 hours every year. I always do mine all at once. I'm like sitting here and certain things, right? And I understand it's a part of the process. I understand what it's there for, but there's a lot more things that are a better use of my time. Learning how to communicate, learning how YouTube works, learning how AI works, right? Learning to make more connections. How do I connect with more people, right? Those are the things that excite and inspire me versus hearing something that I have to do, right, over and over again, just so you do the song, do the dance, get the piece of paper and repeat it every year, give the board their money, give the government their money, right? Instead of focusing on those things. But the lesson I took from it is, wow, when I really have to sit down for 12 hours, I can do that, right? And I do it as quickly as possible because then I just don't want to spend any more time doing that, right? So I try to do it. I was like, well, what if I took that same energy and used it towards things that I'm working to produce? So like yesterday, I spent, I think this is the max the time it goes up to is an hour and a half. So I spent 2 90-minute periods, which is 180 minutes of continually focused time and a task. And I lost track of time. I don't even think I got up to use the bathroom during that time. And I accomplished so much yesterday on what I'm working on. So the key part with what I'm saying with busy is us to be aware when we say that and how often we're saying that. And then the question is to peel back a layer of that as to what do we mean by busy? Is it productive busy? Is it us producing what we want in life? If the answer is no, then why are we doing it? And then the question is, how do we create out of it? And maybe this is something that I'll put up on this one that I didn't intend to go into, but if you're taking notes, this would be something that I write down. It's called the 4 levels of problems. And this is from my mentor, Ronnie Das. If you guys don't follow him, definitely follow him. 4 levels of problems. The first is you're the problem. The second is they're the problem. The third is we are the problem. The fourth is I'm the problem. And then here's the knowledge gap, right? Piquing the curiosity. There is an actual fifth. There is no problem. There's no problem at all. We created this whole thing in our head, right? There's no problem. It's just, what do I want to create? Who do I want to be, right? And that's where all the magic happens. So one of the things that I'm currently working on is not justifying why I'm doing something to someone. All right. If I want to take a course and I share that course with someone, they don't want to do it. Cool. Don't really care. I don't. I sent this your way. I thought you'd benefit. If you don't want to do it, I'm not defending it. I'm not going to sit here and get banter on it. Here you go. You take what you need from it. If you don't need it, cool. I won't send stuff like that your way anymore. And I'm going to do this. Or if someone says, whatever it is, like, hey, I don't think working out's good. Cool. Good for you, right? Sounds like you've got what you need out of that, right? I don't have to justify why working out's good. And I think that's a lot of times, and why you see how media is done is they create contrast, right? Is they create 2 sides, and then people love to defend each side when it really doesn't matter. And in reality, it doesn't. When I say it really doesn't matter, it really doesn't help us move the ball forward. Us pulling against each other, pushing against each other doesn't really help. It's great to have conversations from contrasting sides. We all can disagree, but understanding it's okay to disagree and move forward is important. So is it a productive? Yeah. So when we set our goals, right, not our wishes, our goals, if my goal is to have at the end of this year, which it is, to have over 1,000 subscribers, then what am I doing every day? If I'm saying I'm busy, well, what's that busy? What's filling up that busy? Is it me golfing? Is it me going to see family? Is it like, what is it? Is it me going out to eat? Is it me watching Netflix? Is it me watching TV, fantasy football? Like, what is it that's taking up that time? And then the question is, am I really committed to where I want to go, right? 1,000 subscribers. So then if the answer is yes, then what would I create if I was a person of 1,000 subscribers or more? What would I be doing today, creating that momentum and creating the experience that I want? And then that's what it creates it easier, because right there's the saying, and I'll kind of wrap this up because I want to keep this one a short one, is right, it doesn't, the more successful you get, the more attention that you get, the more that you produce those things, is there's more opportunities that come your way. So the better we have to get at saying no. In the beginning, there are things that we get to say no to, but that skill, that muscle that we develop by saying no to things, because you're always saying yes to something, right? We've all heard that, is you're going to get more opportunities. We're going to get more opportunities. I'm going to get more opportunities down the road. And so learning to say what to say no to, and it just becomes easier. It's like, this isn't in alignment. It's a great opportunity, not in alignment. And the more that we can stay focused, time being very intentional on the things, right? If you've ever, this is a great one, like if you have kids or you have spouse, significant other, or you're just meeting with a friend. Have you ever been with a friend or someone and they're just looking at their phone, right? And you're hearing a conversation, but you know they're really not intentional there. But how much more productive, right? And again, not busy, productive would that be if, hey, you know what? I do really want to focus on our time. I do really need to respond to this email. Let me do that real quick. And then I want to focus on our conversation. And so these are things that we can practice every day. Kids are a great example of this. They know when they're not getting attention. They know it, right? And that's why I love kids. They just are so much what they are, and they're so brilliant. And they know when they're not getting your full attention. And so they'll find more ways to pick, pry until they get your full attention. So these things are important. This is the same thing that I do in my practice. One of the things that we're being very intentional, and I built out a lot of it this weekend, why we coach other chiropractors, other entrepreneurs, is just being very focused. Like, so for us, when we have a new patient, I actually do that myself still. And the reason I do it myself is because I want to focus versus a game of telephone. I have to understand from my team member what's going on and then go in there, like not pretending, but secondhand information, knowing what's going on and then doing that. So for me, I set aside 30 to 40 minutes. I don't go over 40 minutes, right? Because I do have a productive schedule. And in 30 to 40 minutes, if we can't accomplish what we want to accomplish, then we're both doing something wrong or we're not the right fit for each other. That's why we have people fill out their intake forms ahead of time, right? Because now I actually get to review their case before they ever show up. Now I'm prepared coming into our consultation, our exam, our x-rays. They're prepared because they fill out the paperwork, so they know what we're the information we're looking for. And then the briefest part of that is going to be 5 minutes of a consult, because I can read paperwork and they can read paperwork, and them telling me what they know doesn't help me have a better solution because I only know what I know, right? And so we're going to spend 5 minutes, get the health goals, get the primary thing that we're here for. Anything that comes up, I bring a recording device in, you can add that and I'll hear that during that consult. So if something comes up during the exam or the x-rays that you think of that's not on your paperwork that I can't read, go ahead and just share it as we go through the exam and x-rays, because it's going to pick it up on the device. But someone telling me all the things that they know doesn't help me, right? What I need to know is it spine related? Is it subluxation related? And do we have a solution for that? And the only way I'm going to know that is through the examination and through the x-rays. Can I adjust their spine? Are these symptoms coming from the spine? If that answer is yes, then I can have a solution. Us sitting there telling each other what we know, we don't know, doesn't really get us towards solution. And the other thing too is if it's someone that I don't have a solution for, I want to get to that answer as quickly as possible so we can get them to the place that's going to be best for them. And so I use this example as this is the same thing in our lives. Be very intentional. And it's okay to say no. I'm not going to sit here for an hour with someone just going through stuff. That's not what I do. We have therapists that are like we refer to, right? If it sounds like what you need is someone to listen and help you understand and navigate through this, here's a referral for that, right? What I do is I find where subluxations are, people that have tried all these different things, medications that fail over and over again, that lead to surgeries. They just mask problems, and then they lead to surgeries, and then they have other surgeries. And hopefully we're getting the people now before that is our primary goal. If it's spine related, I'm going to build value in what we do. And I hear what you're saying, what our goal is, our primary goal is. I know that we've helped a lot of people with that. What I need to know is if it's spine related, we need to see the exam and the x-rays. And that's our process, right? And it's just over and over and over again. It's that simple. Because if we try to do, and I'm using a story here, but if it's the definition of insanity, right? If we try to do what everyone else has done, which is chase the symptoms versus going and actually looking for the cause. That's why you hear doctor of chiropractic, doctor of cause. I'm looking for the source of the problem. If we can find the source versus just chasing the symptoms, get you functioning better. We see it time and time again. And now we have data in our practice because of what we do in our re-exam forms. Now we have the data supporting it. It's not what Joe Schmo does or whoever else out there, whatever, the peer reviewed or any of that stuff. That doesn't really matter when it comes to me. This is the results of what we do, what our patients experience, the results that we deliver on for the people that qualify for what we do. And so I share all of that is the intention and focus. When we can get rid of the word busy, when we can understand it's easy to find busy, right? Have you ever met someone that's busy, right? You invite them to something that's there to help them, but they have to clean the floor for the 7th time today, right? That has time to scroll for 3 hours on this, that has time to sit there and watch TV. And I'm not saying a right or wrong here because I do a lot of those things too, right? And so, but my point with it is if it's not producing what you want and you're not happy with where you are, then we need to change that word busy and what I call an ego word, right? It feeds the ego. It feels good to the ego because everyone loves being busy. Everyone loves talking about how busy they are. Then we shift the conversation to productive. Well, what are you producing? Are you happy with what you're producing? Totally different conversation. If the answer is yes, then more power to you. Great. You're accomplishing it. We're happy for you and what you're accomplishing. And we hope that you continue to stay happy. Like that is the goal. And if you're not, then it's time to sit down and look at, well, what do I really want to produce? And for me, it's getting time away from this and what people on there may want me to, or what the stories that I've told myself of what I should do, and just getting clear on what I actually want to do, what really fulfills me, what makes me happy. And in the beginning, you may not know. So trying new things, testing different things. I call it tasting. When you go to a restaurant, a buffet, you try all these different things, you find what you like and you get more of that, right? And so same thing in life. And so my point with all of that is when we're very clear on what we want, then when we look at busy and production, am I doing the things that produce the end result or the end feeling or the lifestyle that I want? And if the answer is no, then we need to change that. Like, well, it's just so hard. It's so hard. Yes, being busy and doing the same life, like and that's one of the questions we ask. Like, do you want to, like, where do you see yourself in years down the road? Like 10 years down the road, you're just going to keep being busy? That's the life that you want? Because that's what I'm hearing. No, this is what I want. Well, yeah, but what you're doing isn't in alignment with what you're saying, right? And this is the bringing the awareness. And this is what I love doing. This is what I do so good as a human being, but a coach. But I've been so blessed in having people that do this for me too. They bring things to my awareness, right? And so this is like the fun, and it's fun for me because when I work with the right people, right, and even if they're the right person, they get the awareness, and then like I detach from it. Like I don't like you don't have to produce anything with that information. I'm just bringing it to your awareness. If you're not going to do anything with it, or you don't want to, or that, then you don't need me, right? That's cool. I wish you nothing but the best, and that's very genuine. And vice versa. If then there's someone that you can bring that to their awareness, like, oh, I never thought of it that way, or I haven't been aware of that. That does make sense. What am I doing? Those are the people that I love working with because it's like they want to get better. And now we have different tools and resources to do that. This YouTube channel is one of them. The podcast is that, disrupted by the Dr. Matteo Franco. DR, I put for disrupted. That's a disruptor. Just what you heard in that conversation is what I love doing for people and people that already have those disruptions. Is us growing together. Is so creating a disruption of, yeah, I'm busy. Well, where do you see busy getting you 10 years down the road? If you keep doing this, where does that go? And people sometimes don't consider that because we're just so stuck in a program or a pattern. Oh, they're like, oh, well, this is what I want, but I'm so busy, right? But I always say butts are for pooping, right? But the truth comes after the but, right? And so, but I'm so busy. Like, okay, but where do you see yourself in 10 years? Because what's happening is your actions aren't in alignment with what you're saying you want. And so one of those is incorrect, right? Either what you're saying is not what you really want, or your actions aren't what you really want. But like your actions just aren't in alignment. You're not following through in what you say you want, right? And getting those both in alignment will lead you to the life that you want with consistency and time. So that's the disruption. I love doing that for myself. I take myself on every day. That's like the most exciting thing. There's new levels of awareness. There's times where I have to sit with things. And then there's times where it's just fun too. I'm like, I'm just going to get on here and just create stuff. Like that was my feeling today. I was going through this massive course and I've crushed out 180 minutes worth of it yesterday and also executed a lot of the implementation of it. And then today I started that process. Like, what? I just feel like getting on here and talking. I talked about my flex footwear shoes. Now I'm sharing this. But this is the thing. This is in alignment with where I'm going, and I'm not just going to be busy. Like, oh, okay, I'm not sure what to do. I'm just going to sit and watch an episode of The Office or something like that. And there's times where I do that just to relax the mind. But this isn't one of those because this is the season that I'm committed. I'm going to follow through on the things that I say, and that's where I'm committed. So, if you guys haven't hit the like and subscribe, go ahead and do that. If you're following on podcasts, make sure to share it with a friend, someone that you know would benefit. From that. It's only going to help us grow, reach more people. We're getting new partners and stuff too, so more perks for the people that subscribe, and also just us building things like communities and things where we can actually do in-person events and bring in some awesome people. Bring in a Ronnie Doss, bring in a Greg Whitmire, bring in these people that bring in a Rick. I can never pronounce his last name. Rick, you know who I'm talking about. He's on my podcast. We have his name on there. Starts with a D. Danloff. I want to say it's Danloff, but I can't commit to that. I don't know if that's 100% correct. So hopefully I did it justice and service there. My point being is we're going to bring awesome people together. Also, another thing I'm excited for is we have Chastity Given. She's going to be a part of my podcast too. And so we're bringing on some female voices. There's lots of strong women that I also care for chiropractically, lots of strong men, women, is just getting people, building them up in confidence, but also just sharing their stories, making connections for people. And that's going to help us all get to where we want to go. Where I want to go is creating freedom for people, healthy, happy lifestyle. For me, that's being able to be who I want when I want, be able to go where I want when I want, and be able to have access to things that make my life richer. When I say richer, healthier, abundant, all of those things, getting healthy food, getting healthy water, having things that aren't toxic for us. Is that goal. So again, if you guys haven't already, hit the like and subscribe. And if there's a friend that you know would benefit from this, make sure you share that with them. And then if you want to make sure that you see those guests on those podcasts or the videos, or hear them on the podcast, see them on the videos, is make sure you follow, like, or subscribe, and we'll make sure that you don't miss one of those updates. And I will see you on the next one here at Matteo Franco, DC.